try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest in everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about a correction that is going on Bitcoin right now that absolutely needs to hold some very important support, because if it does not, Bitcoin will likely experience at least an $8,000 drop from here, if not farther. This is a very important moment in Bitcoin's history because we have been trading sideways and mostly to the downside actually for the last 5 months. Right now, Bitcoin has the opportunity to hold an incredibly important level of support, bounce off of it, and establish a new uptrend that could bring us back to all-time high, break us through all-time high, and send us up towards $100,000, or Bitcoin and its traders could choose not to hold this level of support, in which case Bitcoin would likely be in for a major corrective movement. My name is Jeb McAfee. Welcome to the stream. I've been working in the cryptocurrency space for the better part of the last 7 years, and I love teaching you guys about what's going on in the charts. And most importantly, I love teaching you guys about how to build wealth and secure your future, because I have seen untold pain in this life come from people not having their finances in order. From the casual laziness of not having a budget to the absolute unequivocally shameful foolishness that we've all committed of going into a bunch of debt that we didn't need. I have seen untold destruction placed on families, placed on marriages, placed on all kinds of relationships because finances were not run the way they should have been, and investments were not made wisely to secure one's future, and control was not exerted over one's financial picture. And on this stream, as always, we're going to be talking about where Bitcoin is going and how we can best profit from that, but we're also going to be talking about how we can respond to this market to ensure that we are setting ourselves up for the most success in the cryptocurrency space. Thank you, everyone who has tuned in. Philly Skills 1428 in chat, Coin Operator in chat, Williometer is in chat. Williometer is in chat. Praying for the misses. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Cosmin B's in chat. Abraham Lee's in chat. Satchit321. B&H Baker. Schmedley B said, good morning, Jeb. Congratulations on the new addition to your growing family, my friend. Yes, thank you so much. Our little baby is 3 weeks old as of yesterday. So very excited about that. Thank you so very much. All right, we got to get into it because Bitcoin is moving even as we speak. Right now, Bitcoin is trading at $61,818, down even slightly so far this morning. Down about 2.7% in the last 24 hours. And what we are going to be witnessing here is the simple fact that Bitcoin needs to hold above the 20 daily exponential moving average. This is a very important moving average for a number of reasons, but we'll start off like this. The 20 daily exponential moving average, which is this green and or yellow line. I'm colorblind, so I always let you guys make fun of me for that in chat. The one disability you can make fun of. I'm just kidding. No, you can go right ahead and tease me for it. I don't care. It's whatever color. Lime green is what it looks like to me. You can tell me if I'm wrong. This colored line right here is the 20 daily exponential moving average, and this is calculated thusly. You take the average of the last 20 closes, so the last 20 candlesticks of closes, so the top of a green candlestick, the bottom of a red candlestick, basic charting. Remember, we take the last 20 values, let's say it's 58,000, 59,000, and 60,000, and we're doing a 3 EMA, then the number would plot as 59,000 because that's the average, right? You take a moving average, so every interval that passes, you plot a new point here based on the last 20 intervals of price action closes, and then with an exponential moving average, what you do is you more heavily weight the more recent price action. So you slap an algorithm on there that allows for the last, say, 5 days of price action to be honestly more important than the last 10 days of price action. So it changes the weighting of the moving average. It uses the same number of candles or intervals, but it weights the more recent candles more to a greater degree. And so what we see happen with the 20 daily exponential moving average is it ends up giving us this trend indicator. It's incredibly powerful. I've been teaching about it for years in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. And it will almost always give us great insight as to whether or not Bitcoin is in an uptrend or a downtrend. Even here on this uptrend and on this downtrend right here, you can see it's bracketed by a fall below the 20 daily exponential moving average, and it's bracketed by a break above the 20 daily exponential moving average. Over here, you can see the same thing. Uptrend, we end up breaking above the 20 DEMA, and that's when we're in the uptrend here. It's very clear. In fact, just so that we can prove our point here, we'll do a little bit of historical back testing on the 20 daily exponential moving average to show you just how potent it is. Give me a second to draw some lines here. Obviously, that's what we do. Let's draw some lines here, and we'll go ahead and set the ones in red as the times where Bitcoin fell below the 20 daily exponential moving average. And so what we're going to see here, if we draw the last 3 bullish breaks and the last 3 bearish breaks, the major ones anyway, is that when you see a bullish break above the 20 daily exponential moving average, you generally go into a major rally, plus 80%, plus 13%, plus 16%, right? When we see a major break that's actually sustained below the 20 DEMA, we end up going into a correction, minus 18%, minus 22%, and then most recently, of course, minus 24%. But there's a part of the 20 daily exponential moving average that we need to keep in mind, and that is the concept of a backtest. This is something that happens to confirm the trend direction, and it's one of the reasons why we didn't really consider these to be bearish breaks below the 20 daily exponential moving average, and why I didn't draw them here. You might be wondering, well, Jeb, wait a minute, why aren't you drawing lines right here? Well, as you can see, when the market came to do a back test, in other words, it went back to the 20 daily exponential moving average, which it had just broken through, we ended up not continuing the downtrend. You can see we went into a downtrend here, back tested the 20 daily exponential moving average, bounced off of it, and we rallied. So we didn't instead fall below the 20 DEMA, rise up to the 20, and then continue to the downside. No, we fell below the 20, rallied up to it, and then continued higher. Whereas in some of these other instances, for example here, we broke the 20, back tested the 20, bounced off the 20. This was our back test, right? Most of you guys are probably familiar with this concept, but I want to make sure we're making this clear for everybody. Here we fall below the 20 DEMA, back test the 20, continue falling. So it's a confirmed downtrend, right? Here we have a break below the 20. We back tested the 20 here, and we back tested the 20 here, giving us confirmation that we're in a downtrend. What we're witnessing right now, guys, is not necessarily the beginning of a massive crash. What we are witnessing is that Bitcoin has broken above the 20 daily exponential moving average, which we said was important last week. I made a phone video on this while we were in the hospital. I made a phone video on this last week about how Bitcoin needed to break above the 20 DEMA and then backtest it. You can go back about a week. Give me a 1 in chat if anybody remembers me saying that in that video last week. We need to break above the 20. We need to backtest it, hold it, and then rally. So yesterday we said, look, Bitcoin is not above this downtrend yet. It just isn't. We don't have a full confirmation from LUX ALGO yet. We do not have the ability to call this a confirmed uptrend, although we do have the ability to say that this is a great opportunity because trend catcher is not green. That's what we discussed yesterday. Now, with an extra day of price action, we can say this. Bitcoin has thus far decided to move to the downside. What we need to see now is Bitcoin holding the 20 daily exponential moving average in this back test, which is what it typically would do that would lead it into a new uptrend. And so I think you see my point here. This is a decision point. Bitcoin has 2 choices. Either one, it can backtest down to the 20, bounce, rally, and then move up towards $70,000 and more, which has happened plenty of times in the past. Break bullish, backtest, rally. Or Bitcoin has the option to break below the 20 daily exponential moving average and then backtest it on the downward direction, which would look something like this. This would be a bearish backtest of the 20 DEMA. A bullish backtest of the 20 DEMA would look something like this, with both the times that you're testing the 20 DEMA, again, being the backtest. So what do we think is going to happen here? Well, I am very hopeful that we're going to see the 20 hold. My concern is that we have not had that much bullish momentum. with the way the fundamentals are right now, we've not seen that much bullish momentum. When we initially broke above the 20, we had a green, red, green that was looking very bullish. For any of you guys who have watched our technical analysis for a long time, you'll be familiar with the green, red, green right here. Non-engulfing red candlestick followed by an engulfing green candlestick. But we didn't rally very far. We only rallied slightly above. We rallied 6%, $4,000. That sounds like a lot, but it's really not. When you look at some of these massive candlesticks over here, for example, 8%, followed almost immediately just a few days later by another 8% candlestick. Right here, we saw the market rally in 3 days, 12%. When you consider all of the historical analysis that we've seen, we have not seen a great degree of we just haven't seen a lot of momentum. We just have not seen much momentum, and so when Bitcoin backtests the 20, it doesn't give me a lot of confidence it's actually going to hold it. So we are sitting on our hands and waiting, but right now, I personally am more in the camp that Bitcoin is going to test the 20, and unless something changes, I am definitely concerned about it breaking to the downside. Part of the reason for that, MACD is curving over on itself very dramatically, which always happens during a backtest, so that's nothing that we should be necessarily scared of, but we're also starting to lose momentum on the Crypto Jeb oscillator. RSI is falling back down here towards its interval moving average. It's moving average right here. So we need to make sure it's 14 interval moving average here. So we need to make sure that it holds here. If RSI is able to hold the 14 interval moving average and we're able to hold the 20 DEMA, then that would give us a lot of confidence, but it's not something that I'm exactly expecting to happen at this point in time. Part of the reason for that also, and something that we should consider, and this would be kind of a point in favor of the bulls, actually, is that right below the 20 DEMA is a great degree of VRVP support. You can see right here, there's a large VRVP bulwark of support right there, and then there's also support here at $60,000. These might help. Right, it's very possible that Bitcoin could hold this, and I'm actually more inclined to believe that Bitcoin could hold $60,000 and that major bastion of VRVP support than just the 20 DEMA. I think you're probably going to fall at least a little bit below the 20 DEMA. That being said, the other concern I have is that we are still on the south side of the visible range volume profile. The VRVP here has something called a point of control, which is basically the area of greatest trading that has occurred in the entire visible range that is being used to calculate the VRVP here. And when you look at the VRVP and you have that point of control and you're on the south side of it, it generally means that you should probably be voting in favor of the bears, because the VRVP point of control basically defines the market as a bearish zone and a bullish zone. The last time we rallied up to the point of control, we rejected off of it hard, extremely hard. So I'm not inclined to believe that Bitcoin's going to change much over the next couple of days. That being said, after we read some comments, I'm going to be explaining to you why this bearishness is not going to continue. We're going to see a lot of bullishness coming in the next few months, and I'll be detailing exactly why here in just a moment. Let's read some chat. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. So we're looking to go to 56K, possibly. Right now, the next level to look for is $60,000. After that, yes, and I should mention that, the next level that we'd be looking at would unfortunately be $54,000, because that would be the level that Bitcoin has fallen back to the last two times that it rejected off of the point of control on the VRVP. So $54,000 to $56,000 is the level to look at, although I would caution you, if you are an investor, and I want to say this loud and clear for anyone in the back who may skip out on buying until we get to 54 and then try and blame me, always be dollar cost averaging. I don't care what the price of Bitcoin is. I don't care where it is. So long as it's, honestly, even if it's at all-time high, if you're going to hold it for over 7 years, dollar cost average at all times. At all times. So don't just wait until you get to $54,000 to buy some. Because it's very possible that it doesn't happen. I hope Bitcoin holds on 60K. Do not wait until we get down to $54,000 to start investing if you are holding Bitcoin for more than 5 to 7 years. If you're trying to do a trade, I would not be going into a long trade right now, although we also don't have confirmation for a short trade. So we're really in an area where we don't have much confirmation in either direction, so it is more of a wait and see market. I want to be very clear on that, because I do want to make sure that when we do our analysis, we have very clear, actionable to-do list items that we can do in as a result of our analysis, or otherwise, why are we even doing the analysis, right? So guys, make sure if you have not already, hit that like button. Let's see if we can't get up to 100 likes. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate all of you for being here. Sophia said, hiya, happy to be here and glad you're able to stream again. Thank you. I am very excited to be here as well. I love coming on this stream. It's one of my favorite things to do. You know, I had a dream last night. It was so interesting. I had a, this is going to be interesting. I had a dream and I was in Hollywood of all places. Ugh. That's how I knew I was in a nightmare. No, I'm just kidding. And I had a dress room. I had like a room, right? I had my own room and it was called Jeb on One. And it's like, I was doing one-on-one financial coaching with you guys. And I loved that because in my dream, it was made very clear to me that my greatest passion in life from a career standpoint is having one-on-one conversations with people and helping them to grow financially from a career standpoint. And I just think that's so cool because even in my dream, because, you know, dreams are weird, you know, you're doing all kinds of stuff. You're like fighting a alien over here, you know what, you're doing whatever. But even in my dream, I knew that my favorite thing to do, my calling, if you will, is to have one-on-one conversations with you guys and to teach you about how to succeed financially. That's why I do financial coaching. Links down below. I really love sitting down and talking to you guys. I love doing it in real life. I've got plenty of people around me that at this point, you know, I don't like try and go out of my way and give people advice, but at this point, people kind of know what I do, and so they'll come and ask me my opinion sometimes, and I've been able to see real fruit of watching people make changes. I was just teaching somebody about the financial sovereignty way last week. Someone who's helping us in postpartum here with the kids, and a family member of mine, and he's doing it. He's actually doing it to a great degree, and it's just so amazing. Me getting to sit down with someone across a table or across a camera or on a phone call and talk to you guys about, hey, try this. I think that you'll succeed if you go in this direction. And then it actually working. That is, that's just very, very exciting to me. So I love being here. Even in my dreams, that's what my dream job was. That was my job in my dream. So there you go. That's how we know it's my dream job. The only part about that was a nightmare is the fact that it took place in California. Ugh, I'm so sorry for any of you guys that live in California. Anyway, maybe one day they'll rejoin the union. Satchet321's in chat. Cosmin B said, welcome back, my friend. Good morning. Good to see you guys. Remember that Trump supports Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, Jeb. Also, Putin likes cryptocurrency. Yeah, I'm not, you're definitely not going to get me to like just about anything that Putin has ever done. The only thing I can say about Putin with any respect is that he is coherent. He can string a thought together. But definitely think he's, what's the word? Evil? Yeah. So, anyway. But as far as American politics are concerned, here's the thing, guys. And I'll say this, then we'll get back into the crypto, which you came for. American politics, there is neither Kamala or Trump, neither Vance or Waltz or any one of the Kennedys are going to make your life better. There, I said it. Mic drop, right? They're not. They might. Now, listen. Some of them might prevent your life from getting worse. They might do things that make your life worse, but the only person that is going to be able to change your life for the better in any dramatic way is you. I challenge you. How many of you guys have been sitting around for years, if not decades, waiting for somebody in the District of Columbia to turn your life around for you? How many? How many people? Better yet, because if you are that way, you're probably not going to admit it, and I'm so sorry because I feel bad for you. How many of you guys know somebody that's like that? Every single hand of an American citizen ought to shoot up through the sky. How many people do you know that they are waiting around for the government, for DC, to change their life for the better because they bought into this crap from the modern political system and from the mainstream media that your candidate, if they get in office, is going to make your life perfect? I'm sorry, but Christ is not on the ballot. And even if he was, you've still got to do the work to change and grow. That's the last I'll say on that. But my point here is that if you want to have a good life, sure, get out and vote. There are issues that are important. But if you want to have a good life, you can't just roll over and do whatever DC states. You know what kind of DC changes your life? Discipline and consistency. That's the kind of DC that you need. That's the kind of DC that I need. That's the kind of DC that we all need to grow in. Not Washington, DC, McAfee, DC for me. Or Schmedley B, DC, whatever, calling out whoever. Discipline, consistency. That's the only kind of DC that we need. Because I'm sorry, but the only true message is that none of the politicians are going to fix your life. Like them, hate them, good guy, bad guy, socialist, communist, capitalist, bluest, reddest, greenest, blackest. Only person that's going to fix your life is you. In the words of the great Dave Ramsey, the cavalry ain't coming. And in the words of Jeb McAfee, get off your freaking butt and do something about it if you want something different than you've already had. If you want what you've always had, then do what you've always done. But if you want something that you've never had, then you've got to do something that you never thought of. Or at least that you never had the courage to do. Let's keep it moving here. Why is Bitcoin going into a major rally? Jeb, if you're so concerned about the short term on Bitcoin, then why do you think that Bitcoin is still in great shape? Well, I love it. Let's go ahead and break down some of the reasons why I think Bitcoin is still in for a massive, massive bull market. I'm going to start off with the one that's very controversial because I love controversy. I don't care. I really don't. Donald Trump is probably going to win the presidency. He might not. Who knows? Anything can happen. He's probably going to win. You thought that you could find somebody... You thought that you would find somebody more coherent than Joe Biden. No offense to Joe Biden, but the guy is just... He doesn't know what he's talking about sometimes. Kamala, on the other hand, can't answer a simple question. Right? And when she does, communism comes out of her mouth. Marxism comes out of her mouth. And so... You have Trump. He's probably going to win. Listen, Trump's got his own junk. And so does Kennedy. So does Vance. They all do. I'm not saying I think Trump is the second coming of Christ. By God, he's not. In no way am I saying that. What I am saying is that he's got a lot more popular support than Kamala. I don't care what the polls say. The polls are full of it. They always have been. Trump has at least some more popular support than Kamala does. He's always been a populist candidate. He's probably going to win. He might not, but if he does win, I do think it will be extremely bullish for the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. Is Trump perfect? No. Do I think that Trump is the greatest guy on the in history? Not necessarily, no. Do I think that he at least seems to like cryptocurrency? Yes. And does that mean that that's probably a good thing for crypto? Yes. Does Kamala Harris absolutely hate cryptocurrency? I don't know. Ask her about her Gary Gensler being appointed to the Treasury pick. The lady is trying to bridge the gap into cryptocurrency, but she can't because she knows full well that Biden and her team screwed up the relations with the cryptocurrency community. So Trump's probably going to win, and if he does, that will be resoundingly bullish for Bitcoin. If he does win, Bitcoin will almost certainly be added to the United States Strategic National Reserve for in the same way that gold is, held as a reserve currency. That's what Trump has talked about, and he will probably do it, to be quite honest with you, because over the last few years, his policy has shifted from hating on Bitcoin because he thought it was a threat to the dollar, to now realizing it's not a threat to the dollar, and it is simply another financial instrument that can be used to the benefit or the detriment of whoever chooses to wield it or not wield it. And so Bitcoin will probably be added to the strategic national stockpile. Now, some of the other reasons why I think a major bull market is coming. Bitcoin is in an enormous bull flag. If you zoom out, because when in doubt, zoom out, we're looking at this short-term, tiny little corrective movement. When we look at this short-term, tiny little corrective movement, we can see, yeah, Bitcoin could drop down here over $8,000. You can see this right here. The next level would be $52,000 to $53,000, which would be an $8,000 crash, which is where the number in the title comes from. As you guys know, I never put a number in the title. It's very important to me. I never put a number in the title that comes out of you-know-where. If I put a number in the title, it's got a reason, and it is actually relevant. The next level that Bitcoin could drop down to if it fell below $60,000 would be $54,000, which would be $8,000 because 62 minus 54 is $8,000, hence that title. However, even if that did happen, Bitcoin would just be more so confirming this bull flag it's painting. This is the largest bull flag in the history of the entire Bitcoin market. Something like this has never been seen before in history. When we were up here at all-time high back in 2021, we were at all-time high, or in this zone above $45,000 for 106 days. We have been above $50,000, except for that one little drop right there, for almost 200 days. Bitcoin has plotted more days up here above $50,000 than at any other point in the history of Bitcoin times 2 or 3. Bitcoin's enormous bull flag here eventually, with the right catalyst, likely will break bullish, and a big part of the reason for that is because of the growing adoption. I'm going to have to find this real quick, but the adoption of Bitcoin is absolutely exploding. Give me 1 second to find this post. This is something that's circulating all over the place on Twitter. This post right here. Everybody's, I don't even know who created this, but this is everywhere. Bitcoin versus internet adoption. Check this out. If you haven't seen this, this is absolutely remarkable. Bitcoin versus internet adoption. So in 1990, the internet users were almost zero. In 2014, Bitcoin users were virtually zero. 2015 and 1991, same thing. When you look at 2016 and 92, same thing. 2017 and 93, Bitcoin users had already pulled ahead of internet users. This is the year that I got in. You can see there's almost depending on who you ask, there's between 200 and 600 million users in cryptocurrency right now. When I got into the cryptocurrency space, there was like 15 million. I am the 1% in cryptocurrency, the 1%, first 1% into Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin users was greater than the internet users. 2019, Bitcoin users still ahead of internet users. 2020, Bitcoin users fell behind internet users a little bit. But you can see the parabolic nature here. Bitcoin users hit almost 200 million in 2021, and since then, it's almost doubled to over 400 million users. The number of users in the Bitcoin space has absolutely exploded, and if you plot forward the next 6 years for the internet, if Bitcoin does the same, you're looking at well over 1 billion people in the Bitcoin ecosystem, which, by the way, the population of the world has risen dramatically since the 90s. In fact, it's up by over 2 billion. Back in the 90s, the population of the planet was about 6 billion. Now it's about 8 billion. And by the way, there are vastly more adults in the global population, and more people have access to this thing called, the internet, than they did when they didn't have access to the internet, than they did in 1999, which makes the adoption of Bitcoin all the easier. Is Bitcoin always going to track with the adoption of the internet? Possibly not, because the internet is now ubiquitous. Almost every single person on planet Earth has the internet, and not every single person on planet Earth is necessarily going to have Bitcoin, although I think the number of people that could hold Bitcoin into the future could be in the multiple billions. But where does that send the price? How do you have that many users and not have the price absolutely skyrocket? You don't. That's what. You don't. That's what happens. And so with the election coming up, it's probably going to be a Trump win. This is 70-odd days away. With the bull flag painted here, with the number of users painted here, with other data such as the fact that the Dixie is falling through the floor and is probably going to continue at least for a little bit longer because of the interest rates that are coming, which I'll talk about in a second, with the fact that the stock market is testing all-time high right now and will probably be breaking it soon. We would have already broken it if the jobs numbers were not revised 818,000 jobs lower. My goodness, I thought we could trust the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Can I get an amen in chat on that one? Anyway, if not for that, the S&P 500 probably would have already broken above all-time high, but it hasn't, likely because of that lie. We'll call it a lie. And so with the S&P 500 breaking bullish, which it most likely will, and with the Dixie continuing to crash, this sets up a perfect storm for Bitcoin. But wait, there's more. Billy Mays here, back from the dead. When you have the interest rates increases the profit margin, which increases the ability to innovate, research, create new products, hire new employees, stimulate the growth of the economy, and in turn rally the stock market. And we know the Bitcoin market is in a great degree of correlation with Bitcoin. And so when we look at Bitcoin and we look at this and say, look, Bitcoin could very well drop $8,000. For anybody who just tuned in, we talked about this the first half of the stream. For anybody who, even though Bitcoin could drop $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 because we're looking here at, a drop below the 20 daily exponential moving average. If we're not able to hold here, we would drop back down to $52,000 to $54,000, which would be an $8,000 to $10,000 drop. If that does occur, that's okay. It's a great place to acquire more Bitcoin, because even if we don't hold the 20 daily exponential moving average, which is possible, and even if we don't hold the $60,000 mark, which we talked about, which is possible, we've talked about how 60K is a very important level of support. If we don't hold it, which as you can see, it's been used over and over and over and over again, even if we don't hold it and we do fall down to our next major level of support at $52,000 to $54,000, even if we do drop the $8,000 that we talked about, 13% drop, that's okay. Because we've got all of these fundamental factors coming online from a geopolitical standpoint, from an American politics standpoint, from a fundamental standpoint, from a stock market standpoint, from a Federal Reserve standpoint, from the Dixie standpoint, and also, just quite frankly, from the cultural standpoint. People are tired of authoritarianism. People are tired of it. People are tired. 30 years ago, having a device in your home that the government could track you with and listen to you from, every single modern electronic device in existence with a microphone or a camera, was unthinkable. 30 years ago, to have the kind of government controls that the government has today, both in Europe and in the United States, was unthinkable. 30 years ago, some of the policies that are being discussed, many of the policies that are being discussed in modern American and European politics would have been unthinkable. In fact, just the mention of some of them may have gotten you thrown in jail. And so nowadays, you have a large number of people the world over, many of you guys in chat are some of them, that are sick and tired of being controlled, such as the CEO of Telegram. CEO of Telegram, right? Pavel Durov, probably mispronouncing his name. They've frozen all his bank accounts. But you know what they can't get? What do you think they can't get his Bitcoin? Because he has Bitcoin, and they can't touch it. Are you getting the picture now? Are you understanding? CEO Pavel Durov. You get the picture? Do you understand part of the point of Bitcoin? Whatever happened to something called the consent of the governed? The consent of the governed was something put forward by Tom Locke and many of the founding fathers of the United States, even in the Declaration of Independence by Thomas Jefferson. It's the idea that the government's, here's a quote on what it means. It's the idea that a government's legitimacy and moral right to use state power is justified and lawful only when consented or agreed to by the people over which that political power is exercised. In other words, the opposite of authoritarianism. It's a form of libertarianism where the government serves the people rather than the people serving the government. That doesn't exist anymore. That doesn't exist. You don't get to opt out of the nonsense going on in modern politics anywhere in the world. Except here. Except here. You get the picture? You understand? This consent of the governed used to be a founding principle of the United States. Who knows? Maybe it still is. I don't think so. That being said, when you operate in the modern financial system, when you operate in the modern financial system, you are giving them their consent. The idea has basically shifted to, oh, you were born here and you live here, therefore that's your consent. Not really. But that's the way it works nowadays. Part of the reason that Bitcoin is going to explode, and this is very important, is because it is a way of saying, I do not consent. I do not consent to the way that the government acts. And so I am going to step outside of the government's overreach, and I'm going to operate in the Bitcoin ecosystem. And there are hundreds of millions, if not billions, of disenfranchised people the world over that are sick and tired of being controlled by their governments in ways that are not beneficial to them and are only beneficial to their governments. And where do they go? They go to Bitcoin. And so make sure that you don't forget that as one of the big reasons why Bitcoin is going to do exceptionally well over the coming years and decades, especially as authoritarianism ramps up around the world. When they came for the gold, U.S. was forced to give it up. The government knows you have it. I'll bet you they know. Of course they do. But at the end of the day, you still do have something with gold that you don't have. With gold, all you could do was hide it. With Bitcoin, you can have it in your head. You can store your key in your brain. And as Michael Saylor, someone that I interviewed, said, there's a fundamental seismic shift that occurs when you use Bitcoin. Because when a government comes to take your property, for all of human history, until January of 2009, when Bitcoin was created, the government shows up with guns and you're done because you don't have the power to fight back. You can try and hide your wealth, but that's the best you can do. With Bitcoin, they can know full well where your wealth is in Bitcoin because it's in your brain. You can destroy all evidence of the private keys and keep it only in your brain, which forces the government to move in one of two directions. Torture. But ultimately, it forces the government to move in the direction of negotiation. What can we do to get the keys out of your head? That's a very big change in the history of mankind that has never, ever happened before. Something very, very threatening to the government. All right, let's read a little bit more chat. How much more you want us to buy? All the way to the bottom. All right, let's read a little bit of chat. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Guys, make sure if you haven't already, check out NordVPN with the link in the description box down below. Nord is an incredible product because they are going to help keep you safe while you browse online. If you have not already signed up for Nord, you are missing out because you need to invest in your security. It's very important that you know how to keep yourself safe while you're browsing online. And if you have not already signed up for Nord, then you absolutely should. Use the link down below. Get a massive, massive discount. All right. Speak the truth, Jeb. Preach, Jeb. That hit hard. Yep. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Good morning, Jeb. Congratulations on the new addition to the growing family. Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Internment camps that happened once not long ago. Yeah, you know, we live in a very odd age in history. It's very it's rare in history that you're not under the thumb of an authoritarian despot. And so we need to fight to make sure that it stays that way because we are blessed by the sacrifices of our forefathers. One House Production said, "Yeehaw, Jeb, missed you last week. Missed you guys as well. Thank you guys so much." F1998 is asking for Caspa. Let's take a look at Caspa. Sure, why not? Very excited for the Caspa project. It's sitting at rank number 22 on CoinMarketCap and has been having a consistent and considerable growth rate here over the last couple of years. My one concern about Caspa is not so much a concern as it is just a trial. Caspa is still very young. I want to see how it performs over the course of a couple of bull markets before I get really heavily into it, although I do firmly support it. I think it's a great vision. What Caspa does is it attempts to actually fulfill the vision that Litecoin set out to fulfill. Litecoin set out to be the silver to Bitcoin's gold, in a sense. It was supposed to be the transactional version of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was a store of value. Litecoin would be the medium of exchange, and then together they would be money. Literally and metaphorically, or euphemistically. But that didn't really work out because Litecoin, all it really did was it quadrupled the maximum supply, and it cut the block time in a quarter. So it was a 2.5-minute block time instead of a 10-minute block time, and 84 million maximum supply instead of 21 million maximum supply. Funnily enough, that meant that it wasn't actually very much different from Bitcoin at all and didn't really have a use. And so Litecoin has been kind of trading sideways and just proving that cryptocurrencies in the cryptocurrency space don't need any real solid actual use case to be able to, grow a lot. And so Litecoin hasn't really done much, and I don't think it really will. It might pop off for a little while, but I don't think it's going to stay there. Caspa, on the other hand, is right below it, nipping at its heels, been out for 2 years, and it's already coming for it because Caspa has fundamentally different technology that makes it actually a lot faster, much faster block times, basically much faster block times, much more advanced blockchain. And so it is the leader in that silver to Bitcoin's gold kind of idea, and it is proof of work, which means it's not proof of stake. So for anybody that wants to opt out of proof of stake lightning fast cryptocurrencies, then you have Caspa as an option. And so very excited about Caspa. Definitely think it's one that you ought to look into, although I do also encourage you to make sure you do your own research before you invest in it. At the very moment, it is definitely in a sideways consolidation pattern, just like the rest of cryptocurrency, and we basically just kind of have to sit on our hands and wait for something to happen before we can get some kind of trend analysis going on it. All right. I really appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thank you guys so much. I'm really looking forward to getting FinSoft Academy out and helping you guys learn how to grow and succeed with cryptocurrency. The most important thing right now, and you're going to hear me saying this a lot because it doesn't change very quickly, but the most important thing right now is that there's not a lot of great trade opportunities at the moment. What we are witnessing is another season here where we're waiting for something to happen. During that time, I want you to be consistently investing in your wealth. That starts with paying off your debt, smallest to largest. After that, building a 3 to 6 month emergency fund. After that, investing for retirement and paying off your house and doing extra investments for wealth generation through things like the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency space. So please do everything you can to set yourself up financially. I'm very glad that we did. You know, we made it very clear that we wanted to be financially sovereign coming into the birth of our child, and we're glad we did because we actually just got some of the bills back from the hospital, and luckily we have extremely expensive, but extremely good health insurance. The first half of the medical bills were over $20,000. Luckily, even if we didn't have insurance, we could have afforded to, you know, cover all that and been okay and been fine. But luckily, we made the right decision and had good insurance in place. So it's a very important thing for you to protect yourself financially, because for us, if we had not done that, my goodness, how much more stressful this postpartum would have been. How much less we would have been able to enjoy our newborn, because we would have been pulling our hair out thinking, oh my gosh, now we're broke. But we're not in that situation because we've been very wise with our money. And so I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing so that you don't get your joy and your peace and your love stripped from you because you have to spend your entire life pulling your hair out because of money. And that is the most important thing that I will ever teach you after the gospel. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out our sponsors down below. And before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Oh!